Hello, hello. I just finally finished watching Arcane. It's at Legends, Season 1. So this is me talking all about Season 1, spoilers for all stuff that happens in Season 1. Well, not really. I don't know if I'm going to get particularly that in depth. Um, I said finally because, to be honest, I found the writing in this series very lackluster, and I found the animation, the look, the cinematography, um, the kind of visual wow of this really amazing, and so they kind of um, balanced each other out. That it was just like amazing visuals, amazing kind of character design, except for one creature that seems completely out of place in this world. Um, really, really amazing, but I found the writing pretty god awful. And specifically, well, specifically two of the characters, and that particularly irked me. And just sort of the general kind of politics or kind of the plot construction of it, pretty weak. So it's definitely something where it's like, okay, I've seen I've seen to the full of season 1. Season 1 does not particularly take you anywhere by the end of it. Um, it feels like more like, here's the setup for seasons going forward, and luckily, I would say, due to their amazing visual stuff, it seems to really have a lot of fans and maybe people who've just respond to the story more than I do. And I mean, there's some interesting things in here that I can totally see would just be like, yes, I want more of this, even on the character side. It all centers around two sisters who, when this story opens in this kind of fantasy science fiction world, are live in the kind of the undercity with a gruff father who kind of protects them and is trying to protect the undercity from their gleaming, shining overlords in the upper city who have great technology and stuff like that, but of course don't seem to particularly do anything for the people underneath. And indeed, there's been a rebellion that the father participated in, which failed, um, and they're now just trying to kind of scramble and pick up the pieces. Um, by the end of about the third one, a villain in the Undercity connives to have the father offed, and one of the sisters, the older sister Viv, goes to jail while Powder, the kind of shaky but brilliant uh, little girl, um, purple-haired little girl, is completely devastated. Thinks she's unintentionally caused the death of some of their compatriots, and this is when we get into what I find is the really like crap of the show. Is she's mentally unhinged by it, and we're getting a whole. She basically turns into a kind of a Joker-like character. Um, you know, Unhinged, could kill you as easily as help you, kind of thing. Working for this Fagin like Silco, who takes her in after having basically um, offed her father, and blamed Jinx, blame not she, and so she becomes Jinx. And I really find her character really tiresome and irksome, in that it's like, she has mental illness, so she's crazy and she murders people, and it's like a really crappy way of representing anyone with mental illness, and much less anyone with mental illness that would be that severely mentally ill that would be able to do anything other than most likely just harm themselves. And all this kind of hurting other people is just, it's a really tired cliche. The other character that I really dislike is in the upper city, where we have this kind of golden boy inventor who is a completely weak kind of character. He's not. He's basically someone to be manipulated by others, but he somehow rises up to be the leader, as the years go by, of this city, and gets put on the council. A lot of it, admittedly, by the machinations of a black woman who is obviously is the brains behind the thing, but is also actually seems to genuinely fall in love with him. Isn't just manipulating him. And indeed, he seems to actually his character seems to vacillate back and forth between being actually having kind of, intelligence and kind of a bit of ruthlessness, and then being kind of soft, kind of, I don't know, I'm indecisive kind of guy. Really, really annoying. There's some interesting gender dynamics that you do get the sense that this is a world where, females, there isn't kind of the whole patriarchal setup in a lot of ways. A lot of the females in this thing are indeed running things. In the later episodes, the black woman's mother shows up, and she's very much kind of the Amazonian, has a boy toy, kind of is got her own machinations going. There's a lot of mother daughter and father daughter relationships going on here, without very many what you would argue is very particularly strong males in the thing. It's very much a female show where you're seeing the females running things, except for maybe Silco, who is twisting a female power and using it for his own purposes. He wants to make an independent state, but by the end, Powder Jinx has got to do that, and it's got to be crazy, and blows away one and blows away Powder, it seems, and set up for the next kind of series. You do get the sense that this is kind of bloated in places. As you're watching, especially the final episodes, you're thinking, okay, can we hurry this along? It's like we could have done this in a lot less episodes. It's frustrating because there's political machinations, which makes no sense. Viv and the armory girl, who are definitely hot for each other, go to the council to kind of plead for them to help the Undercity. It's like, these are all the people who've been making sure that the Undercity is where it is and exploiting it for their own mercantile purposes, for the whole history of this city. And you're going to them for a thing, and then at the end, when they actually all vote for the peace plan, it's like, okay, they suddenly had a very big about face, which just seems to be there for a bit of drama of like, they were going to choose peace, but Jinx has got to jinx and cause mayhem and stuff. And indeed, Silco at the end is guys claiming, I would have never betrayed you. I would have never betrayed you, Jinx. It was going to be you and me. I would have never given you up, even if they weren't going to give me everything I wanted. It's like, okay, it's very muddled, very, So obviously, speaking of this as someone who's not going to see season 2, but yeah, that was Arcane. I'm curious now to go and actually watch people's positive reviews of it, because I'm interested to see what they have to say about it, whether they can argue me over to liking it more, or just a different points of view. But by the end, it was pretty much like, meh, yeah. Oh, and we just watched the first episode of Archive 181, I think it is, or 118, which seems like, here's a shining establishing shot. A lot of hipster doofus New York City kind of hipster stuff at the beginning of it, which was just like, you kind of rolling your eyes, and it's like, he sees a dog in a picture, so of course it's got to be his dog, and his tragic past of being burned into fire. It's got to connect to the tragic past of this woman going to do this videotaped oral history of this building, and then she has a tragic past about how another building burned down here and they built this one on top of it. So you can see it's just going to go back and back in a very Stephen King kind of thing of generation after generation. And the guy that they have who employs him to come and work to restore the tapes is played by an actor who's like, oh yeah, You always play bad guys in movies, and you're really good at it. So I'm glad they got you for this because obviously you're the bad guy, or one of the bad guys in this. Um, so yeah, we're not going to watch any more of that because we're sort of Jean and I are kind of tired of Arcane. Kind of like, oh, just kind of got steadily worse and steadily more holes in it that we saw as we went along, and more dissatisfied with, boy, this is so beautiful and could be something, but they're obviously kind of welded to some kind of video game plot. I'm just watching the Havanese who's climbed up on top of our bags of manure, so I think I should go help him. All right, more videos later.